Good evening, everyone. Welcome to NICA Streams, live from the Stadtgarten. Actually, the musicians will be playing for you live from the Stadtgarten, but I'm sitting here in my living room. My name is Shannon Barnett. I'm a trombone player from Australia. I've been living for the last 6 years here in Cologne, and yeah, I love this city, and it's great to be part of the scene here, and I'm really happy to be hosting this program for you tonight. We've got some great music coming up. We've got two duos of Cologne musicians, and also in the middle we're going to have an interview which I recorded earlier today with the artistic director of the Jazz in the City Festival in Salzburg. If you tuned in the last few minutes, you would have heard some beautiful music from one of the NICA artists, Tamara Lukasheva. Now, NICA is a program, it's an artist in residence program that the Stadtgarten is running this year, and there are 4 artists being supported. Tamara, a great vocalist, and also the cellist Elizabeth Kudul, the pianist and composer and interviewer extraordinaire Pablo Held, and the trumpet player and beat genius Pablo Giv. And they're all helping to present this NICA Streams project and invite different musicians to come here and perform. So yeah, it's going to be a great hour or so of music and chat. I'm going to invite the first duo on in a second to the stage, and if you do have some questions for them, feel free to type them into the Facebook chat, and I'll do my best to answer them in between songs. They'll play one song and then we'll have a chat, and then they'll play another song. If you've watched the streams in the last couple of weeks, you might have noticed sometimes we have a plexiglass wall between the musicians, and I should point out that for this duo that's not required because they both live together, so we don't have to look out for that distance rule. So the first duo is the saxophonist Kristina Brodersen and the pianist Tobias Weindorf. And they've been playing together for a long time as a duo and also in quartet format. They released an album in 2014 called Rabaneo, and they're going to play tonight. The first song is going to be Lee, which is a composition from Kristina, and that was dedicated to the saxophonist Lee Konitz, who unfortunately we lost a few weeks ago. So from your respective living rooms, offices, wherever you might be, please welcome to the stage Kristina Brodersen and Tobias Weindorf. Kristina and Tobias, thank you so much for being here.
Hi.
Yes, thank you for
Hi.
listening. Hi.
Yeah, it sounded absolutely beautiful. What a great composition.
Thank you.
Now, you've composed that. I mean, the piece is entitled Lee, and it's dedicated to Lee Konitz. I understand that you had the opportunity to spend some time with him and to study with him. Could you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, the experience was great. He was a fantastic person. I met him first when I was like 15, and it was by accident at a workshop, at a jazz workshop. And at that time, I didn't know anything about jazz. So I started to play a calypso. And he was very excited and said, wow, okay, I mean, we know why should I play a calypso, but he liked it very much. And so after some while we became kind of friends, and I started to take some private lessons with him. And over the years, we also met every few months, and he told me a lot about music and gave me some records and said, you have to listen to that, and that was a really great experience for me. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, fantastic. And I wanted to ask you too. I mean, you've played together for a long time. During this pandemic, do you still have the opportunity to play a lot together? What's changed for you during the pandemic?
My turn? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think the funny thing for us was, well, at the beginning we didn't play so much together at the beginning of the pandemic, but then we started really to play again, because before we were so much in our lives, and school with the children, and teaching and some gigs, and we forgot a little bit about playing together. So we started to work again and work on new music, and I wrote a new song, I guess, and I told Kristina she should also write new songs. So we took it as a new start in a way. So
Yeah,
that was
great.
good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting what the kind of the lockdown measures kind of bring out, and the creativity that we all have to try to exercise during this time, and to put our teaching online, as you mentioned, and other things like that. So speaking of online, how can people who might want to hear more music from you two, how can they get in contact with you? How can they purchase your music or find out more?
Well, of course, we have websites, or we are available on Facebook or Instagram, so people can try to get in contact there with us. And Kristina, she has a new CD. It's on Klang Records, out
Great.
last year, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, that's the question, where you can buy our CDs.
Yes.
And we have two CDs on a label called A-Jazz, so that would be also a possibility. So, and if any problems, everybody can try to contact us via our websites.
Okay, fantastic. And the second piece that you're going to play, I understand, it's a cover from do I have this right, a punk band?
Yes.
Okay, and it's called Parable. Can you tell me a bit about the band and what inspired you to perform a punk band song in a saxophone piano duo setting?
Yes, I try. When I was younger, I used to listen a lot to punk rock music. Well, at 16 or 14 or something like that, and then I stopped it for a while, studying jazz, and then it came back, but in a way only with this band. It's called Legwagon, and I had the chance to meet the singer, and also I played 2 times or 3 times with him. So we started to talk about music a bit, and I tried to do some versions, kind of jazz versions of those songs. So, and yeah, I still love to listen to this music.
Great. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing your interpretation of Parable by Lagwagon, and just want to say thanks once again for being there in the Stadtgarten and performing for us tonight, and wish you all the best of luck and the best of health, and hope to see you in person soon.
Yes, in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, fantastic. Kristina Brodersen and Tobias Weindorf, thank you so much for playing for us this evening. We're going to see an interview now that I got to do earlier today. As part of this NICA streams, we thought it would be great to connect with other clubs and other festivals around the world to find out how they're dealing with this pandemic. And so I had the opportunity earlier today to speak with Tina Heine, who's, among other things, the co-founder of the Elbe Jazz Festival in Hamburg. She's a lecturer in festival management and audience development in Salzburg and Hamburg. And at the moment, she's also the artistic director of the Jazz in the City Festival in Salzburg. So I spoke with her about the challenges that they're facing to try and present their festival in October. So please enjoy that. Tina Heine, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Now, you're the artistic director of the Jazz in the City Festival in Salzburg in Austria. Can you tell us, how are the lockdown measures at the moment in Austria, and how has this pandemic affected the planning for the festival this year that's supposed to happen in October?
Well, it has affected it tremendously. I mean, right now, like if you look at today, we don't have all the measures that are taken right now, and that are like the actual law right now, are against anything that have to do with, you know, culture, festivals, concerts. So you're not allowed to do anything inside. You're not allowed to gather any more than 10 people inside, or, you know, you're not allowed to have a concert. You're not allowed to have an outdoor event. At this moment, normally I would have booked almost most of my program. I tend to be ready with like the full schedule by the end of June, to be able to prepare everything for print and website and for production. All that is of course not happening because I don't know what's going to happen. So we do have like 20 artists that are already scheduled, 20 bands. And I stopped it for now. I'm not booking any other additional band. We are in contact with the artists, trying to figure out how we will go step by step. I'm very skeptical that in October I will have a festival like mine. I mean, to just quickly answer this or end this question or this answer, normally like our claim is, you know, 5 days, 30 stages, 100 concerts, 300 artists from all over the world, 25,000 visitors. I mean, just everything I just said is something you don't want to hear in times of COVID. You know, it's
right. Yeah,
it doesn't match. Yeah, so for me, I kind of like stopped the idea of having a festival like that. But of course, I think if not the improvisers, who else will be able to handle a situation like this? So I feel sort of stimulated and to rethink everything, and to feel sort of free to be able to totally be away from any expectations.
A lot of other festivals this year have already decided to put their entire programs online. What do you see as the challenges with like presenting on an online platform, and are there actually also positive aspects to that?
Well, I see like different characters have different strategies. Some of the festivals and also of the clubs were very fast was coming up with digital strategies, like streaming concerts they had already recorded, to do something and to be in touch with their audiences, or to actually record on stage in an empty venue concerts and stream them. You know, Stadtgarten does it, Oslo does it. I mean, I think it's all experiences and experiments we should take and we should do. And it's a personal question what I do with the situation. And I have to say, I'm not interested in digital strategies. I'm interested in finding analog strategies in times with Corona and maybe past Corona, because it might change also our field of culture after that. But I'm more interested in finding analog strategies, maybe in combination with digital strategies. You know, I'm not like totally against it, and not at all, and I don't want to. And I think it's great what people do right now, but I don't see it for me. So when I think, for example, about my festival, I'm trying to find out like what is the essence of the festival. And for me, the magic is that I feel curiosity in my festival. I see people from different fields, and not only jazz fans coming. People meet, people talk, people have intimate situations with artists. And and I thought that is what maybe I can try to tell, if you think of storytelling. That I can have these moments of mobility, curiosity, discovering, being in touch with distance, but you know, having smaller groups, having intimate situations where people are not many, but it is fruitful and special. So I think what a festival like mine, like an improv festival, has to do in times of these is to do what I cannot do in other times.
Right. A new experience.
So, now I can experience, because like now I have all the arguments, you know, to not do what the people expect, because I'm not allowed to do it.
Right.
So now I can do what I always wanted to do, turn the rooms upside down. I mean, you never know. So I really have to go with the flow and find out who, you know, which artists can come to Austria. You know,
so how it's going to be with the travel restrictions, how that's going to look with your normally very international program.
Yes, totally. Well, it's my thought right now is to not accumulate everything in these 5 days in October, but to say, when I look outside my window here in Hamburg, I do see lots of people doing improvisation. It's the kindergartner who has to try to work it out different. It's the parents who have to do home office and how to try to manage with their children and the job. And I see so much improvisation and creativity going on that I said, oh, Jazz and the City has started already. Yeah, I always said my festival is focused on the title, Jazz and the City. After last year's festival, where we did lots of more like participative formats, you know, with sound walks and silent concerts and, you know, those blind date things and stuff. Our plan for 2020 was, anyways, before Corona came, to say it's not jazz and the city. We do it more like jazz with the city. So I also have like a group of architects, young architects I'm working with, who have architectural concept of a totally new way of how the river would be included in the city, and it's an amazing project that they did. And I invited them to be part of the festival and to improvise with architecture, to imagine a city that is not actually there, and not do that and then bring music there, but to do architectural improvisation and make it part of the festival. So I said Jazz in the City doesn't only have to be jazz or music, it's improv with the city. So there was, you know, I started with some initiatives already to work on stuff, how we can improvise these 5 days. And now I'm seeing, as I said before, what I see in Hamburg, the improvisation has already begun, and therefore I'm thinking that the festival will already begin. And now I'm working on a concept and put some ideas together. You know, the hotels are empty, but maybe some artists can reside there and do residencies and write stories and create and compose, you know, a view behind the scene, their work and their, you know, what they do. And so this is what I'm trying to put together, and to maybe be there all summer already, and maybe the festival itself would just be like the final destination we are looking at, but it doesn't need to be a big thing. You were just gonna ask about, you know, the travels and the artists, the international artists.
Right.
And if I'm working on this concept, I could be very flexible. I could say the moment the border to France opens, I can invite the first French artist to come. To sort of be flexible with it,
Right.
I would be very afraid to only book Austrian artists, not because they're not good artists, but I don't want to have a national festival. And we all said we have to be very careful that we don't stabilize any national political.
That we're closed off to each other.
Yes. Yes.
How do you think musicians and artists can support each other in these times, and also how can the public support each other across borders and as artists in general?
I think what the artists can do is, and what we all should do, is to always put the emphasis of the fact that open borders are the source of our work. And our work is not working with closed borders. And this pandemic doesn't end at national borders. And the sooner, the governments start to work more regional, maybe it doesn't make sense to have national measures. You should have more regional and spontaneous measures. And maybe this is a way towards the future. And we should really definitely, in our festivals, always let the people feel what is missing if the others cannot come.
For sure. There have been a few articles recently in various, at least in German newspapers I've seen, about how musicians are dealing with their own creative output during this pandemic, talking about fees and different things. And, there are some venues like the Stadtgarten who are paying performers to present, but a lot of musicians are presenting online and presenting a lot of their output for free. Or for a very, very low cost. How do you see that? Are there positives to musicians still presenting or artists presenting during these times online? Should they be valued more by the society? Should companies like Spotify further support the musicians? I mean, how is that kind of whole general situation? How do you see that?
Yeah, I think the artists, I totally understand that they want to stay in contact with their audience. I would recommend it to any artist I would talk to. I would always say, put on a video and put a little if you like it button. I'm happy if you pay something. It's a big process behind, and the people forget that music is not a click. That music is composition and work and contractor and management and rehearsals and it's hard work, and they forget it. It's just like click, oops. So I think we should have this monetization issue much more discussed and regulated and so that really there comes more money in the system.
Yeah, well, I think we'll leave it there for today. Thank you so much for your time, and we wish you all the best with the festival in October, and we're very excited to see how it goes ahead.
Yes, me too. Maybe, as I said, maybe we start already in June. Let's see what happens.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Welcome back to NICA Streams, live from the Stadtgarten in Cologne. You've just seen an interview that I did earlier today with Tina Heine, the artistic director of the Jazz in the City Festival in Salzburg in Austria. And it's just about time for our second duo for this evening, and that will be coming from Dominik Mahnig, the drummer, and Kristina Lorenzen, who's playing piano and synthesizers. Well, actually, they're both playing synthesizers. And they are 2/3 of the Zoom trio, which released in 2015 this record. Hopefully you can see it. It's called What's for Dessert, and it's out on Leo Records. And they're going to perform for us, and then a short piece, and then in the middle I will ask questions of them. So if you have questions, please type them into the Facebook chat, and in English or German, and I'll do my best to ask them in the break. So please welcome to the stage Dominik Mahnig and Kristina Brodersen. Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you.
Hi, Christian. Hi, Dominic.
Hey,
Thank you so much for
Hi.
playing. Sounds great. Dominic, can you tell us about what you just played? Was that a composition? Were the composition elements, or was it totally improvised?
It was totally improvised, you could say. I mean, since we are dealing with these weird synthesizer modules, somehow it's maybe closer to composition than if we would just improvise acoustically, because these kind of things are not that flexible as an acoustic instrument. So we somehow you just try to search for new stuff, and then you remember, okay, now I'm gonna do that, and sometimes it happens the way you think, and sometimes it doesn't. And
I see, yeah. So you do have some sort of sounds prepared or some ideas prepared before you play together then?
somehow, yes, you could say that.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't
And
really agree.
sorry.
We didn't really agree on anything, but yeah.
And how about mixing? I mean, that's really fascinating to me, how you mix those acoustic instruments with the electronic sounds. How did you get into that? How did you start doing that? Christian, maybe you can answer. And then how do you work on combining those sounds?
Yeah, for me, it was always like searching for the right solution to bring together the acoustic realm of the piano, and maybe prepared sounds, and the electronic world. So I tried the different speakers, a bunch of speakers, and somehow it didn't really feel totally connected. And then I got aware of those things called exciters or transducers. They, how do you say? You attach them to something that resonates. So I use the wooden soundboard. Dominic uses them as well. He uses his toms. And this feels really natural to me, because somehow it's the same instrument creating the acoustic sound, becoming a speaker for the electronic things. And then things start to resonate depending on the frequency. You can work with feedback loops. Everything felt really natural. And for me, it's like a really nice and satisfying solution for those two worlds. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. No, it sounds amazing. Dominic, how's it been making music during this pandemic? Are you able to continue to create things or practice or rehearse with people? How has it been affecting you?
I mean, concerning this electroacoustic stuff I've been working on over the last 6 years, it was kind of was good for that thing, because I really had time to dive into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually wanted to record solo. I did 2 days of solo recording in the beginning of March, and then this shutdown came along, and then at some point I thought, okay, I'm just gonna do it again. And I spent 2 weeks, not whole days, but like 3 to 4 hours in the rehearsing room, set up my microphones, and recorded some solo music. And microphones for that I got from Christian, and when I gave him back, he did the same.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
And sorry, Christian, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And can we expect then that you maybe release some of that music? And if so, Dominic, how will you release that? Is there a certain platform that you like to use?
I don't really know yet. I'm gonna for sure I'm gonna release it. Maybe not as a CD, maybe an LP, a limited edition. For sure, it's gonna be available digitally. It depends a little bit on what's gonna work out, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Cool.
really want to. I'm quite kind of happy how it turned out.
Yeah. And what about you, Christian? How have you been dealing with the lockdown?
Yeah, I think it was pretty much the same as Dominic.
Mm-hmm.
I had a bunch of time suddenly. Somehow not. I mean, my little son, he requires some time, of course, now. But I used the time as well to record a solo record, and this was keeping me busy like the last 2 weeks, I guess. Yeah. It's if you record, it's it's very present. So it's always in your head. So time was flying by, and now everything's finished.
Yeah. Oh, great. There was a question that I read in the Facebook chat. I'll just have a quick look in case there might be a couple other ones. Oh, I can see one. And that came from someone from the community, and they wanted to know what you guys think about about musical output in this time and how musicians are putting things online. And do you think that people should be, what do you think is the best platform in these times? We know that Bandcamp's been waiving their fees, for example, and trying to support musicians. How do you balance those things? You want to reach your audience, but at the same time you want your music to be valued.
I kind of decided not to release music until I finished it. So I kind of went for that way, just to record, and really so it really took time, and I wanted to take this time and just release it when it's done and it feels finished. And so I never did any streaming. That's my first streaming gig somehow. I never did like at home recording because I don't think I could do this properly in a way it would satisfy me.
Mm-hmm. Christian?
Yeah, for me it's the streaming thing is a pretty nice way somehow to connect with people, because I'm not so active on Facebook. Well, actually I'm not even on Facebook.
Outrageous.
Yeah, so I'm not this the social media guy. This is a nice opportunity to play a concert again after a long break, and it's a little weird because you obviously don't see any audience, but it's nice, and
Well, I guarantee you there are a lot of people listening and watching. I can see them all in my computer. Well, I can't see their faces. I miss them too. Thank you so much for playing for us. We're going to hear another piece from you in a second. But I just wanted to ask, how can people follow the Zoom trio and also you two? What's the best way to get in contact or see what you're up to?
We both have our websites. You can search for Christian Lorenzen and Dominic Mahnig. You will find on Google. And many projects we are involved in, they are listed on the website. So if you're interested in a particular band, you can just follow the link and visit another homepage, a band homepage, and there are a bunch of Bandcamp links. And I think our websites is the best way to get in contact with us or follow us. Yeah.
Cool. So we're going to hear another improvised piece from you, I guess.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. So thank you very much for being here, and wish you all the best and good health to both of you, and hopefully get to see you in person soon.
Yeah, for you too. Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Dominic Mahnig and Lorenzen. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thanks to everyone for tuning in to NICA Streams live from the Stadtgarten. There'll be another stream next week, and that's going to feature the singer Philippa Goyo and pianist Sebastian Skobel, and also the trombone player Matthias Muche and Etienne Nielsen on snare drum. So very much looking forward to that. If you want to donate to the Stadtgarten to support musicians and other staff who've been affected by this pandemic, you can go over to the website stadtgarten.de, and also you can, of course, buy albums and other merchandise directly from the artists, and that's a really, really good way of supporting them too. So yeah, thanks again to everyone for tuning in, and thanks also to Florian for doing all of the tech support tonight, basically running the show. And yeah, and until next time, thank you all very much. Bye.